Welcome back to All This Math. This is Professor Parker, and I want to give a shout out to ASCAC, the Association for Classical African Civilizations, right? Very important organization in the development and the maintenance of African heritage and African history and the study of our history as well. All right. And today, what I want to talk about is this right here. I want to talk about -3, whatever you see, because you're gonna see this type of problem a whole lot, right? Well, let me say this. Let me rephrase that. You might see a negative number raised to the second power, right? And you also might see a negative number in parentheses raised to the second power, right? Now, many people think that these two expressions are equal to the same value. All right? Man, my boys are filthy. Don't worry about it, though. It's going to be all right. All right? Many people think, like I said, many people think that this value right here is equal to this value. It is not. And I want to be very explicit about that. All right? Because you will see this expression a lot, and you will see this expression a lot. A lot of times, teachers will teach this at the same time and give an assessment and give you both of these expressions. Or they might give you a different number, right? They might give you -2 instead of the -3. They might give you -4 instead of the -3. All right? But the rule stays the same. So I'm here to tell you that once you see an expression that looks like this or an expression that looks like this, when you see this without the parentheses, you want to think of the order of operations. I repeat, when you see this number that's negative without the parentheses, you want to think of the order of operations, okay? And you also want to think of the fact that this negative sign, that's an abbreviation. This negative sign is an abbreviation. This doesn't necessarily mean that this is just a -3. This can also be represented as -1 times 3. -1 times 3. So that negative sign really means -1, right? -1 times 3 squared. So once you think about it like this, that changes the whole game, right? And that eliminates a lot of the confusion, because once you realize that this negative sign should really be thought of as -1 times 3 squared, right? Now that changes everything, because now you go back and you say, okay, well, what is the order of operations? And in the order of operations, we know that before we multiply, we must deal with our exponents. We must deal with our exponents, all right? And then we multiply by the -1 after that. All right. So this is what happens. We end up with -1 times, not 6. 3 squared does not equal 6. Don't make that mistake. All right. 3 to the second power is not 3 times 2. 3 to the second power is 3 times 3. All right. And we know that 3 times 3 is 9. So this becomes -1 times 9. So if it's -1 times 9, then that means the answer is actually -9. A lot of people know the rule for multiplying negative numbers, and they say, oh, well, -3 squared, that's just -3 times -3. That's +9. Boom, we done. No, it's not, because we have to apply the order of operations. So whenever you see a problem like this, whether it's -3 squared, -2 squared, -4 squared, -5 squared, always remember, expand it, right? Expand it, and then apply the order of operations. Use the exponent first, and then do the multiplication. And then you get your answer. All right? Now, over here, when you have the parentheses, that's when you can actually say, oh, it's just -3 times -3, right? You don't have to break this down. You don't have to break this down into -1 times 3. I mean, you can if you want to, but it's extra work. Because now, in order to apply the exponent, what you're really doing is saying -3 times -3. That's what you're really saying. You're really saying -3 times -3, right? That's not the same thing as what's going on over here. Over here, when you follow the order of operations, you need to separate this negative sign from the 3. And that negative sign becomes a -1, because negative signs represent -1 being multiplied by the number next to it. So that -3 is really -1 times 3. But you have the exponent there. So you got to use the exponent first before you use the multiplication sign. That's order of operations. You got to get real familiar with the order of operations and know when to apply it. Then right here, order of operations, you only have one option. We already used the exponent to expand this out and make it look like -3 times -3. So -3 times -3 gives you +9. So again, if you don't understand what I just explained, a lot of people would just think, oh, well, they both +9. No, they're not. This would be -9. This would be +9. Again, this one would be -9, and this one would be +9 because of something called the order of operations. All right? And that's all I wanted to talk about. I just wanted to put this out there, and hopefully whenever you see an expression that looks like this or an expression that looks like this, whether it's written by itself or whether it's part of a larger expression or a larger problem, you'll know what to do. And I just want everybody to know what to do. All right? So, like the video, share the video. If you have not already, subscribe to the page. All right? And always remember, as usual, there's all this math all around you. Peace.